blessings and yeah, so great blessings of the Almighty.
Thank you.
We had you here. Thank you.
Thank you. So I would like to give a presentation, Scala presentation. So screen sharing would be allowed by me, is it not?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, it is there. It is being allowed. So my presentation, is it my screen is visible? Is my screen
Yes, sir.
visible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, my voice is
Yes, sir.
also audible.
Yeah, yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Today, I'm given the opportunity to speak to you all about the scientific approach towards yoga. I feel so happy to be amidst you. My heart is dancing with joy because such a noble organization, such a charitable, great organization of international status. I welcome you all for this session. Manavata, the great organization for charity, for improvement of the personality, for improvement of the health of the people, working across the world. I should congratulate you for the whole thing. First, let me pay my respects to the founder and the president of this organization, Sri Allur Srinivas Garu, and also let me pay my respect to Dr. G.S.N. Reddy, my friend, who is going to join us, and my respects to all the team members of Indian team, Surya Prakash Alluri, Bhavani Akkina, Venkat Seshay Garu, Siddesh, Kapila Dave, Arvind Abhay, and Tulsi Madam, and also maybe international figures like Bobji Undavalli, Thomas Jasti, Vamsi Krishna Garu, Pramoda, Potu, Nagmanish, Srilata, Mahalakshmi, and Rao Garu, Hemant, Charan Gupta, Patil Surjana, Sailaja, Bomana Jayanti, Kalyan, Ashu Mehta, Amit, and Mukund Gorla, Naveen Kumar Kodali, Dagupati Neerajakshi, Ravi Kumar. So many great people, and I admire your noble deeds. And I happen to be with you during one of the functions there, where I could give a motivation lecture to the students there in Rayavaram, and my applause. Okay, coming to the point. Ancient ever-shining wisdom. We have got a lot of things from Vedas, Upanishads, Darshanas, especially Yoga Darshana from Patanjali onwards. Even before that, in Upanishads also, in Vedas also, there was mention about yoga, and Bhagavad Gita is nothing but Yoga Shastra. So we have got a lot of wisdom with us, and at the same time, modern medicine, evidence-based medicine. Previously, the lifespan was about 40 years or 50 years when infectious diseases were rampant. But because of the advancement in the development of the modern medicine, so many investigations, antibiotics, development of antibiotics, and so many things, lot of things, you know. And this medicine development is not just because of one thing or other thing. It is evidence-based. It is scientific. And it is accumulation of the science. See, in 1950, there was a quantum of science. And in 60s, 70s, 90s, 2020. So it is, we are getting the accumulation of the wealth from the previous physicians, previous scientists. Here, we have got ancient wisdom, and on the other hand, we have got modern medicine. Can we integrate both the things? Our chairman, sir, told you about my PhD in education. And indeed, I have done another PhD in law and waiting for Viva. My third PhD in yoga therapy. He is my guru, he is my guide, supervisor. In Pondicherry, Sri Balaji Vidyapit. He is a doctor. At the same time, he is a Pitadipati of one ashram. So that type of integration, I think we may require. Multi-centric trials are being conducted to examine the efficacy and the effectiveness of yoga practice, which can be translated to routine healthcare across the country. Modern medicine and yoga. See, in NIMHANS, Bangalore, my alma mater, where I did my MD, there a lot of work is going on. Yoga therapy in various psychiatric conditions or neurological conditions. Yes, Vyasa, I'm told that some of you got a certificate course by yoga instructor certificate course from Vyasa. I also got an instructor certificate course from Vyasa. I wrote my examination along with the prisoners in central prison, as the course is available only in prison in Rajahmundry. And of course, Balaji Vidyapit, lot of work is going on there. And if we happen to see the journal articles in PubMed, PubMed, you know, it is a reservoir of all the articles published in all established, peer-reviewed, recognized journals. During the past 1 year, 541 articles were published on yoga. And a lot of research is going on. We have got on one hand, Veda Pramanyam, Vedalu, Upanishads and Puranas and so on. On the other hand, we have got modern machinery, science, so many things are there. Sometimes we get caught in a conflict, whether to go this way or that way. See, for example, we may have a superstition that we should not go out when somebody is sneezing. But we know that it's only a superstition. So science says one thing, tradition says another thing. Sometimes scientific people may say that what is yoga? After all, it is some form of exercise, is it not? People may try to underrate that one until a lot of research has proved its efficacy. Rules of the game differs from science and yoga or religion or traditions. On one hand, the people here are playing volleyball. On the other hand, badminton they are playing. How can the rules go together? Because rules of the game in scientific parlance is different from the rules of the game in darshanas, Upanishads, and so on. How do we get the knowledge? We get knowledge from various sources. Pratyaksha pramana, perception; anumana pramana, influence-based; upamana pramana, comparisons; shabda pramana, Vedas and Shrutis; and anupalabdhi pramana, negation; ardhapati pramana, implications and postulation; and aiti pramana or itihas pramana, that is history. These are all some of the sources of knowledge. Whereas among them, among all these 7, the first 4 are considered to be important, recognized by many. Pratyaksha pramana, perception, that is whatever we see, whatever we hear, whatever we taste, whatever we touch and get all these things through all jnanendriyas, whatever we get, yes, we get that knowledge. This Pratyaksha pramana is accepted by scientific people and also our traditional people, yoga people also. So there is no problem, there is no conflict between these two things. Anumana pramana, that is inference based, that is on observation. For example, we know the fact that smoke emanates from fire. We happen to see fire, we happen to see smoke from a distance on a hill. Then we get the assumption that, we get the inference that there must be fire, that's why there is a smoke. And when we go there, really we see fire also. So our assumption or our inference is proven. But sometimes it may happen, some chemical vapors may come and it may resemble fumes without any fire. So inference based anumana pramana also is accepted by science because many times it happens. And the third thing is upamana pramana. Upamana pramana is comparison. For example, wings. Insects have, a butterfly has got wings. Because with the wings, it flies. Yes, bird also has got wings. Anatomically, both may not be same, but flying occurs because of the wings. And aeroplane also, it has wings, so it can fly. But sometimes it so happens that a duck having wings, it cannot fly instead of having wings. So sometimes, Upamana Pramana, by comparing certain things, we may get some inference. This one also is accepted by some, may not be accepted by many. And the problem is with the Sabda Pramana, the Vedas or Shrutis or Darshanas. People say that we get these things because those are told by ancient seers. They are knowledgeable people. They do not have any motives. So we have to believe them. That is the thing which is accepted by our traditional knowledge containing scriptures, whereas science never accepts that one. See, those people may be having some psychological abnormality which may be responsible for hallucinations. Those people say that they heard the things, that they saw the things. How can we believe? Those may be their figment of imagination. So science just doesn't accept Sabda Pramana. Manomaya Kosha, psychosomatics. See, Adi, Vyadi. Adi and Vyadi, these things, we from Upanishads we are getting this type of knowledge. After all, this Annamaya Kosha is being treated by modern people. Pranamaya Kosha to some extent, Manomaya Kosha maybe by psychiatrists and so, but inner layers. So these things are responsible for all our behaviors. Adi is the inside thing, responsible for Vyadi in the outer layers. So this type of knowledge, modern people, they may not accept. How can we say imbalances in unknown or unseen the things? How can we say that emotions are because of some inside the layer? So all these things are may not be accepted by itself. But at the same time, we can say, see, people say that, see, in the science also, we can't see many things. Is not electricity, we can't see. But we are enjoying the scientific principles of electricity, is it not? Atoms. Although we cannot see with the naked eye atoms, we know about the atomic energy, how much advantage or a disadvantage it can cause. So these things, there will be always a debate between these things. Characteristics of science are, science should be objective. It should not be subjective. For example, when we touch some person, he's having a fever, somebody says. But another person says that, no, his body is cold. He doesn't have any fever. So this is subjective. Whereas objective, with a thermometer, we could see the reading, 100.4. Oh, a little fever is there. So this is objectivity. Science expects objectivity. Systematic, 1, 2, 3, 4. Step by step, one has to go. Chronologically, so time-wise, it has to go this way. So everything is systematic, not haphazard. Let it go. This type of thing is there. Everything is orderly. Logical. There should be logic between one statement and another statement. We have to go in a logical fashion rather than illogically. The logical thing, deduction or induction. See, you say 72. We have got the range from 1 to 100. In 1 to 100, yes, 72 it fits into. 38 also fits into. 204 it doesn't fit. So in the with the deductive logic, we can say something. Whereas inductive logic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 7. So in this series, I think we can fit 100, 105 and so on. So this type of logical thinking would be there. Whereas illogical thinking, certain things like, for example, I say, Indira Gandhi is a Brahmin. Indira Gandhi was a Brahmin. Indira Gandhi was killed by a Sikh. So Sikhs have got hatred towards Brahmins and Sikhs kill Brahmins. See, the steps look somewhat okay, but how illogical it is. So this type of things science doesn't accept. Science is always cumulative. That means things which we have gathered in 30 years back, 40 years back, we utilize them. We utilize the principles, Archimedes principle long back, but we utilize the principle now. And science is transmissible. See, we can transfer the thing. The things which have been invented or discovered at some place, they can go. They can be tested anywhere. The things which are proven here can be proved in Australia, can be proven in Netherlands. Replicable. The experiment which we have done with particular this Mayurasana, diabetes gets cured, or at least blood sugars come down. That means it can be repeated and we can get the same results. And predictable. The things can be predicted. See, because of these things can happen that way. Verifiable. Easily the things can be verified. And generalizable. It's not belonging to an individual. The facts can be generalized to the whole humanity. See here, on one hand, the traditions are there, on the other hand, science is there. Yoga is getting the scientific status. Fortunately, so much research is going on so that it has got the Yoga International Day status even. So further, I think we have to struggle or we have to work hard in such a way that it should ascend the ladder so that it will take up the #1 status. And fighting with the invincible. See, for example, in situations like Corona, where nothing can be done, things like yoga or meditation or some other things, which are some alternative things, when we can offer these things as treatment models, I think we'll be doing a lot of help to the humanity. Medicine always prefers minimalism. Less is more. When a doctor prescribes too many medicines, it means that he has no certainty about his own diagnosis. Law of diminishing returns. See, to such an extent we get the benefits, but after that the things will go down. The optimal point will come down. Management is not equivalent to cure, but is better than any alternative. Drugs are a powerful tool, no doubt about it, but not the only options. We have to think about the others also. Like a tulsi leaf as output. Then I'll tell about certain other side points also, at other side flaws also which we have to rectify while taking yoga into a greater status. If you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Therapy is a way of hammering away, even when the nail is the wrong size, when there is no nail at all. For example, you have got one tool. With that tool, you try to look at the world and you try to do so many miracles. For example, in psychiatry, we have got a medicine called fluoxetine. Fluoxetine is prepared to control depression as an antidepressant. Gradually, with fluoxetine, why can't we treat OCD? With fluoxetine, why can't we treat somatization disorders? With fluoxetine, why can't we use it as a personality pill? So things are being used with that hammer only. So similarly, acupuncture, chiropractic, homeopathy, natural products, traditional oriental medicine, electromagnetic fields, biofeedback, macrobiotics, music therapy, prayer therapy, diet, herbal medicine, acupressure, massage, yoga, mind-body control, art therapy, guided. So many alternative things are there. Unfortunately, what happens is, like a frog in the well, they don't open up. They try to look at the world with their own scope and try to deal with everything rather than being eclectic. One has to be eclectic, broad-minded, and should be incorporating everything into his system. Therapy depends on clinical experience and judgment, but unfortunately, clinical experience could be defined as repeating the same mistake with increasing levels of confidence. When somebody has got a little idiosyncratic way of thinking, a little this thing, a little that thing. See, some people, about the steroids. Nowadays, people are talking about steroids. Steroids are useful in treating corona infection. See, some people, especially in villages, RMPs, for everything a little steroid. So this type of thing, sometimes with the experience, it becomes idiosyncratic. So with a weapon, they try to use that weapon towards any harm. Yeah, we have got everything. With that one, we can do miracles. With that, so this type of attitude we should neither have in modern medicine nor should have in any our traditional therapies also like yoga. We have to improve the design depending upon the need. Sometimes we should not fix to the things. No. This particular thing, I think this particular pranayama has to be designed in such a way that I think it will be useful more for that particular condition. We should not try to fit everything into the things which we have. Sometimes some certain things would be odd. We have to accept the odd things. So here, what I'm going to play is something like a devil's advocate role, that certain lacuna, unless we rectify the thing, we cannot get our yoga therapy into the scientific realm. We have to go for some introspection. One flaw with any therapy is anecdotal. Vishnu Sahasranama was so helpful. Somebody had a cancer, and that particular person, the doctors declared that he would die in 1 month. But when somebody suggested Vishnu Sahasranama, with Vishnu Sahasranama everything cleared. Doctors also got astonished. So these are anecdotes. So then I think why not we try Vishnu Sahasranama for all the cancer patients of that sort? See, this type of things, sometimes certain things which we cannot explain happen, but we cannot generalize it. See, even in modern medicine also case reports, case series, we should accept that case reports are for to start one hypothesis, but it has to be tested with lot many population. Here I would like to tell about certain 4 stories which you already know, but I just touch them because those will be helpful for us in understanding how to get the scientific status, how to develop scientific attitude towards yoga. Emperor's new clothes story, Here, emperor wanted to have new clothes for his birthday, some function, and some people came from outside the country, and they are said to be very good experts in that one, and they started imaginary things and all. All the people when asked, how nice the clothes are and all. So everybody was praising the clothes, but one small boy suddenly laughed and said, oh, king is going naked. So this is what is called bandwagon effect. Sometimes if somebody says something negative or positive, it may be a negative thing or it may be a positive thing. People also start telling this one. We have to be careful about this one. Another thing is, a doctor has a habit of closing his hospital exactly at 7 o'clock, and he goes for recreation with the family. So he closes that one and he never opens that one. It's not an emergency hospital. When after closing that one, just he was stepping out, then somebody came, suffering from a lot of abdominal pain. Save me something. No, tomorrow you come. How can I wait till tomorrow? But okay, you come there to my house, I'll give some medicine there. But till then I have to survive, is it not? Then he just took some pill from his coat pocket and he gave him and asked him to keep under his tongue and be sucking. And by the time they both went to the house there, doctor's house, he said that he got relieved. Then he asked him to spit that one. It was nothing but his coat button. So this is what is called as placebo effect. See, certain things we have got faith in it. Some sacred ash given by a Swamiji. We believe and we get cured. And some pastor, he sprinkles some oil or some water. And some people get relief. So this is what is called as a placebo effect. And coming to the scientific method also, it keeps on improving on observations. Long ago, 100 years ago, one doctor, he happened to get a patient, his tailor. He's suffering from cancer. And after examination, he got the conclusion that this particular cancer, he is going to die in a couple of days. Then anyhow, he is going to die. What is the food you like most relish? I like chicken fry, sir. You do one thing. You take chicken fry twice a day for 1 week. Is it really, sir? Yes, you take it. And he forgot him, thinking that he would have died. But after 6 months or so, his son came with a new dress. How is it? Oh, very fine. Who stitched it? Our tailor Chandarao. Tailor Chandarao, is he still alive? Yes, he is very much alive. Then he went there and asked. That Chandarao told him that, see, you asked me to take chicken fry twice a day, is it not? I took it not for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks I took. And I became so healthy, you know. Now I do not have any problem at all. Then he wrote in his notebook that chicken fry works very well for pancreatic carcinomas. He made a conclusion. Then after some time, his barber came with same pancreatic cancer. Then happily he said, there is a very good cure for pancreatic cancer, you know. Daily take chicken fry and keep on continuing for weeks together. After 2 days, he got the news that that barber died. Then he made a note. The chicken fry treatment, which works well for tailors, doesn't work with the barbers. So this is the type of development we get with scientific principles. Like elephant and blind man. See, they started describing everything. You know, I need not repeat the things. So what happens is, ultimately, observations are accurate, but interpretations differ. Why? Truth, but not whole truth. So this is the flaw with the scientific methods. Superstitions also. See, while sneezing, what happens? Nothing happens, you know. But while sneezing, if we go and if something happens, it gets stuck in our mind. Placebos and nocebos. Some people get benefited out of placebos. Some people get the negative feeling towards it. After taking this pill, you know, the whole thing, I developed giddiness. After all, it is a B complex tablet. After all, it is a paracetamol. Nothing would happen. No, it has happened. So this type of things happen. So whenever we test a treatment, whether it is yoga treatment or a modern medicine thing, how far placebo effect is helping the person. For example, press any key, it works for placebo. I'm telling you about antidepressants. Antidepressants work in depressive people in 2/3 of the cases. If you have 3 depressive patients today, and if I prescribe antidepressant for these 3, what happens is I get relief for 2 patients. Out of those 2 patients, 1 must be having placebo effect. So only 1/3 of the people are getting the real relief from antidepressants. Something called file dryer effect. The journals publish, you know, when certain results are positive only. Negative results, they don't. See, it is something like news. Dog bites man is not a news, but man biting dog is a news for them. Similarly, cherry picking. Only those things which are palatable for them, they publish those things only. Many of our major medical procedures have to undergo double-blind studies. See, doctor doesn't know whether he is giving placebo treatment or he is giving real treatment. And the patient group also, this group and that group, they do not know whether they are getting dummy treatment or real treatment. After some time, they compare the things. So we understand how many people with the dummy treatment also responded well. Unblinding of raters, side effects often reveal treatment groups. Self-limiting disorders. Some conditions are self-limiting. We do not know. Common cold, for example. Common cold is such a thing that it remits by itself. So how can we say that our treatment has worked? Remissions and relapses. For example, bipolar disorder. Sometimes depression, sometimes mania, or some people with some multiple sclerosis. For some days they will be suffering a lot. Some days they look so well. So these things also we have to be careful. There is something called Hawthorne effect. Whenever we are doing some study on anything, the people who are getting experimented, they become alert. Even though we produce negative things towards them, They show beneficial effects because of the attention we are showing to them towards them. We have to understand about the mechanisms also. For example, in the school children, 14% of the school children have behavioral disorders. And this is my study. So society expects a lot of things. So many positive things. So I'll tell about two experimental things, how we can bring the scientific status to yoga. Yoga consists of certain postures like asanas, including Surya Namaskaras, regulated breathing techniques like pranayamas, and we have got hand poses like mudras, and we have purificatory practices like neti and all kriyas, and also of course we have got meditation. How these things are affecting the growth, the positive personality development of a child. Under my supervisor, my guide, Dr. Anand Balayogi Bhavanani, I wanted to do this one because of the corona. I do not know how far I can go this one. Salutogenesis is not treating the disease, but preventing the disease and promotion of the positive physical and mental health. Aims and objectives. The study aims to examine the influence of yoga techniques on the behavioral, cognitive, emotional, and academic status of the school children. See, here you pay attention. See, we divide the children into groups. Surya Namaskaras group. Surya Namaskaras group, we have got some 40 children or so, or some 80 children are there. Among Surya Namaskaras, some people, 40 children would be practicing with Bija mantras and 40 would be practicing without Bija mantras. And we will be studying. And pranayamas groups. Some 80 are there and we divided into Chandra Bedi pranayama, Surya Bedi pranayama, Anuloma Viloma pranayama. How the things will be. Meditation. And one group will be practicing Omkara Dhyana. Another group will be practicing meditation on the object of their choice. Maybe Jehovah or maybe somebody raised the hand. Is there any problem with slides or with my voice? Am I audible? Audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, may I proceed?
Yeah, please, sir.
Omkara Dhyana and meditation on an object of choice. For example, maybe Jehovah or maybe ice cream. He is meditating on ice cream. Or Trataka on an external object, maybe candle or something. Effect of asanas. Asanas of relaxation like Yoga Nidra and Savasana are 5 different postures. Or effect of mudras. How those will be on attention and working memory. Whether these things, whether there is any difference between various things on working memory. And control group. Control group would be doing only exercises. And whether all these things have got anything to do with the behavioral disorders, telling lies, stealing, beating the people, all these things. Emotional intelligence, like IQ, we have got EQ, and also an academic performance, how the performance has improved with all these things. So these things, I think we can study. Similarly, science of chakras also, Kundalini, awakening and all, chakras. Some people, particular chakra, they would be meditating on because particular chakra is associated with an endocrine gland. How to scientifically evaluate the things? See, we have got various chakras, Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, and so on, and reproductive glands, adrenal gland, pancreas, thymus, and so on. So, how far influencing these chakras would influence the glands functioning. So this also we can prove, so that we can say that the artificial hormonal therapy is not very beneficial, but this particular meditation on particular thing has helped. Research problem is there any relationship between meditation on chakra and improvement in the dysfunction of corresponding endocrine gland? To establish the therapeutic effect of activation of chakras and diseases with hormonal dysfunction. So we have got various hypotheses, Mooladharas, whether it helps any menopausal syndromes, fertility or sperm count. So these things we can do. or with null hypothesis, the reverse thing. And with activation of Swadhisthana, cortisol levels, whether any influence on these things. And of course, null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. And Anahata Chakra, Manipura Chakra, whether it has got influence on HbA1c, that is diabetes levels. Anahata Chakra, whether because it influences thymus, whether AIDS patients living with HIV or AIDS, whether there is any improvement in CD4 count. Vishuddha Chakra, whether there is any improvement in thyroid functioning, hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism also. And Ajna Chakra, I think whether there is any improvement in the pituitary or melatonin, pineal glands. So these things I think we can measure. And before treatment and after treatment we can measure. For an illustration, Manipura Chakra you can see, and pancreas, uncontrolled diabetic population in a locality, that's the universe, and sampling design, we take the samples. And the treatment group, Manipura Chakra meditation. Comparison group, some asanas group, like maybe Ardha Matsyendrasana or some Mayurasana, Dhanurasana. Control group, some exercise group. See meditation on Vaiswanara or Ram, Rudra or goddess Lakini.
Shri Lakini Sahasranama Stotram. Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Ananda Bhairavi Uvacha. Atha Samvedanartha.
So these are for Swadhisthana, and before intervention, after intervention for 6 weeks or 3 months, and we'll be measuring HbA1c. HbA1c reflects the last three months sugar status in the body. And similarly, Anahata, whether it has got any influence on the thymus, so that his CD4 count influences. Yam, the Bijakshara, or maybe Vayu, or Isha, or Kakini goddess, Lakshmi, those are associated with
Shri
the chakra.
Kakini Ashtottara Sahasranama
Maybe
Stotram.
chanting the
Shri
Ashtottara daily,
Ganeshaya
whether it helps in
Namaha.
improving
Shri
CD4 count.
Ananda Bhairava Uvacha. Vada Kalyani Kameshi.
Before intervention, after intervention, we'll be counting. And statistics also. If we got too many, ANOVA will go. Or if only 2 groups are there, or before and after group are there, maybe t-test like. So these things, statistics. In nutshell, limitations of yoga and current research we have to accept. Certain issues we have to ponder. Difficulties with yoga practice is we cannot have double bind. Because the therapist cannot say that those people who are getting yoga, those people who are not getting yoga, therapist will not be in a position to having the blind towards that one. So double blind studies we cannot do. And similarly, the people who are knowledgeable, they know what is yoga exercise and what is ordinary aerobic exercise. But some people may not know. The role of faith in improvement. See, doctor is like a god, demigod. Similarly, yoga therapist is our acharya, our guru, our god-like. So this type of faith improves in so many people. Non-specific healing effects like a temporary improvement which may occur due to various non-specific situational factors would be lost over time. But after some time, those will be lost. And also the time consuming. See, steroids, for example. Steroids, if you give within hours or within days, we see the result. An antibiotic, we see the results immediately. Whereas with yoga, it is time consuming naturally. And regular practice is a rarity. See, for example, when you start a camp for yoga, on the first day there will be 100 people. But on the 7th day or 8th day, there will be only 30 people or 40 people. Because regular practice is a rarity. And different modules, Iyengar yoga, Vikrama yoga, Vinyasa yoga, Kundalini yoga, Ashtanga yoga, Aqua yoga, aerial yoga, acro yoga, hip hop yoga. So many names. We get confused. what is what and what is the difference between these things. Of course, we have got the traditional things like Patanjali's ways and Hatha Yoga, but somehow we find variations. And comorbid medical conditions also. We can't have a fixed diabetes man, we can't have a fixed hypertension man. Person's having a thyroid problem, he's having a cholesterol, high cholesterol, he's having diabetes. So many comorbid things. We do not know what is acting on what. So we have to go for multifactorial analysis. So ultimately, what I say is we should develop the logistics. Yoga is not an esoteric thing. It has got the scientific status. For the past 40 years, not 40, 45 years, I have been observing so many studies, especially as that Yasvyasa, Nimhans, Pondicherry, and in the north also in Gujarat. So much studies are going on. Lot of things are there. They are proving that yoga is very good for many things. Unfortunately, the people who are narrow-minded, they are not in a position to accept the thing. So we have to bridge the gap between modern medicine and yoga. On the other hand, unfortunately, some of the yoga people, they somehow hate modern medicine as if those are having a lot of side effects and all. After all, modern medicine, so much with scientific rigor, those are developed. See, when we love the Telugu, it doesn't mean that we should hate English, is it not? English is very beneficial for us. We have to learn English, and at the same time, we have to love Telugu. Similarly, both the things we have to give equal importance so that people will be happy. And there are certain advantages like indoor, it can be done indoor, women, inexpensive, no stigma at all, almost no side effects at all. And it is, but at the same time, it is important to demonstrate biological changes occurring with yoga to establish the scientific basis. What are really happening? What are the changes happening inside the brain, in the receptors? What are the hormonal changes happening? Yoga improves immunity. Not simple statement. Immunity, what type of immunity? What are the factors which are improved really? Multicentric trials are required to examine not only the efficacy, but the effectiveness of yoga treatment, which can then be translated to routine healthcare across the country. We have got luckily Ayush department, and that Ayush department has to be integrated with the modern medicine department. Integrating yoga with modern medicine is my dream. That's why for my PhD, when I went to that university, I should not boast about myself. I topped the candidates who have appeared for PhD entrance. I could have got psychiatry PhD or neurology PhD or even cardiology PhD because I was the topper. But I opted for yoga therapy because I have got that inquisitiveness. Why not integrate yoga with modern medicine? So that's my dream. And I think it is time I should conclude. I wish you all the best in your endeavors. This opportunity and so nice people. Thank you very much. Because mine was a full screen thing for me, I could not see the feelings of you, whether I was audible or not, what the things are going on in the external environment. I was not aware.
We enjoyed a lot your
I did
your
not
voice.
waste your time.
We enjoyed a lot and we understood very much.
Yeah.
Very
It's a
nice
great
presentation, sir.
presentation.
Very nice presentation. I am Yarraprada Prasad.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, Prasad.
Thank you very much, sir.
And anyone has got any questions, you can type in. That may be easier. So rather than.
Here, my PhD guide in education, Dr. R.S.S. Nehru Garu, I could see. Sir, raise your hand. He is my guru.
Wow.
Actually, all my gurus, my PhD guides are 20 years younger to me. He is my PhD education guide. My law PhD guide, Madam Nandini, she is younger, 20 years younger, and yoga education guide, he is also younger, 20 years by 20 years.
Oh, yeah, you learn from the even children, I think. So yeah, continuous students. You are so role models, sir, for everyone. Yeah, integrating.
చాలా
So
పాపులర్ అయ్యారు, అందుకే వినదక్కువ ఎవ్వరు చెప్పిన మాటను బాగా పాటించారు.
yeah. And that is how he is very successful in every field, and so focused, and it's an amazing, excellent brains, like I should say. So yoga, right? So yoga means the dexterity in every action. So that he is a proof. So in every action, whatever he did so I should say, maybe he is other means of yoga. Who is what is yoga? Dr. Ramareddy Garu is yoga.
Thank you.
So it's an excellence. So yeah. So in every action, almost he proved that in every field, in yoga field, in mental health field, is a topper in all these subjects, all these studies in varied subjects. He is a wonderful work. That's an excellence. So that is how actually the people should get inspiration from him to again to bring back to the real practice. That because he has served so many people, and cured so many the mental issues of the people, and it's a great service he did. And so and also inspiring the students through this one, like Dr. Abdul Kalam, how he spent a lot of time with the students. He spent a lot of time and inspired so many students. So that is how the time, how much time he spent for the cause. Normally doctors means so busy, but he is a director and managing a hospital, and also treating so many patients. At the same time, he did the degrees. At the same time, he is also served the society. Such a wonderful thing. I think I should request Jason to yeah, speak about. Hello, namaste, Dr.
Somehow your voice
Samir,
broken
unmute.
during the last sentence.
So
Any questions? I mean, if you ask me any questions, I'll answer for about a couple of minutes, and then I leave for the other meeting. Or if you want me to stay also because of my delay for 10 minutes, I'll compensate that one.
All right.
7:25, I'm supposed to be there in the other meeting.
Right, sir.
So that's
Jason,
why I said 7:15, but because of 10 minutes lag there, as you wish.
Sir,
Yeah.
my name is Vadibo.
So,
Sorry, I just have a question. So you mentioned actually Vishnu Sahasranama actually cured the cancer patients, and I read the article also in Andhra. There is a university, and they conducted so many diabetic patients also, they got cured. But lot of like people oppose that also parallelly, like it cannot happen like that. You mentioned in the slide, but I just wanted to know the exact result actually. Is this true, and how does it help even somebody doesn't know the meaning of Vishnu Sahasranama?
Yes, exactly. Here, the difference between anecdotal information and experimental study. Anecdotal information is something like a case report, I said. For example, something interesting that, for example, that cancer patient I happened to see, and somebody reported that this cancer patient whom you said the prognosis is so bad, luckily improved with Vishnu Sahasranama, they say. Then because I have seen before and because I have seen the improvement also after that, I report naturally to the journal saying that a particular case report is there where the person has improved that one. Single case report, nobody will believe because some other factor, because maybe some laboratory error which is responsible for the cancer diagnosis during the first event, and later because of the genuine laboratory report, that may be the whole thing may be false. So that's why a series of the things, case series. Yes, I happen to see 10 cases, 15 cases. Then with this experience, hypothesis starts. Hypothesis means guesswork. Possibly Vishnu Sahasranama may be helpful. Possibly this Karkaya may help in curing the cough. Possibly this ginger and turmeric may help. So this is the way how they start getting hypothesis. Then they start experimenting the things. For example, there we have got the National Brain Center near Delhi. In National Brain Center, they observed one thing, that those Sanskrit Pandits, Sanskrit scholars, and they have taken scans of the scholars there and other people who are professors of some different departments. They found that the particular memory areas, those are hypertrophied in Sanskrit, these people. And they have studied also about the cognitive functions. And compared to the other people, the occurrence of dementia has been less. So now they are experimenting one thing. For dementia people, teaching them Sanskrit so that by learning Sanskrit, the slokas, how the things will be. So this is the type of experimentation which is required. See, other things, see, that person, one sadhu has given some concoction that with that pasaru, he became well with well from AIDS. So this type of things are anecdotal. Anecdotal things science doesn't accept. To get the scientific status, we have to experiment and prove. Unfortunately, those things which are favorable, I have told you one thing, file dryer effect. File dryer effect means the editor selects certain things which are palatable or which are sensational. And another thing is called cherry picking. Cherry picking means those which are liked by us only will be, see, medical companies, pharmaceutical companies, they're promoting one medicine and there are 100 studies. 10 or 15 studies say that this drug is very good. And about 50 or 60 says that it doesn't work at all. And 10 studies say that it is even harmful. What they do is they pick the favorite things and they start projecting that one also. That is what is called cherry picking. And after 5 years or 10 years, when the patent is going down, then they show the adverse things so that the world will not be getting benefited out of the patent lost the thing, and they develop another one. So certain business things also happen in promoting the science, both about the traditional things and both about the scientific things also. Whether rigorously the experimentation has done or not, then only we'll be accepting, and the community will be accepting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Bharti garu,
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
me.
Am I audible, Andy?
You are audible.
Yeah. Wonderful presentation, sir, as usual, which always happens with you. My only question is, just like, quacks in medical field, there are many yoga teachers around who may not have a proper training. So I think there should be some regulation, for yoga teaching also. For example, the breathing exercises you have mentioned, if it's being taught by, proper person, trained person, that may be different, from people who have just learned from the YouTube or somewhere, and then they claim as they are teachers. Like, for example, even Kapalibhati, if it's not taught properly, maybe it may have, harmful effects. So that's
Exactly. As you know, see, we find that, see, for example, so many things, I did through distance mode. I know the difference between distance mode education and the real learning. And we know person to person, Guru Chala relationship or Guru Sisha relationship. Even mantra also, Ashtakshari mantra, 8 letters, 8 syllables only, or Panchakshari mantra, 5 syllables only. That can be read or that can be heard through loudspeaker. But that has to be gained only from Guru. So even yoga also, it has to be obtained from Guru. The posture, the way we develop it, the way we fold it, the way we unfold it, and the counter asanas and all. So this is a lot of science and art together to be received from teachers only. And also at the same time, one should be open for anything and everything. That is real yoga. Indeed, one of the titles which I have suggested for this particular webinar is yoga is not just asanas. That is being practiced by Manavata organization about Yama, Nima, so all these things and all. So these are the things. Unfortunately, yoga means asanas. Teaching some asanas, that will be okay. And this particular asana for this disease. So holistic approach is getting lost. Dr. Bharati Garu, I could see, she is a psychiatrist. She is from Palapullu.
డాక్టర్ గారు నమస్తే సార్. నమస్కారం అండి. నేను ఎర్రాపడ ప్రసాద్ అండి. ఎర్రాపడ ప్రసాదం సార్. మీరు చెప్పే మాట నిజానికి సార్ అదే మీరు చెప్పే మాట గురువు నుంచి నేర్చుకుంటే మంత్రం అవుతుంది, మామూలుగా మాట్లాడితే మాట అవుతుంది అంతే. కరెక్ట్. అదే మీరు చెప్పింది.
When I give some religious talks, people say కర్రి రామారెడ్డి గారు ప్రవచనం ఇస్తారంటే, బాబు నేను ఇచ్చేది ప్రవచనం కాదు వచనం, ప్రవచనం ఇచ్చేవారు పెద్దవారు అని అంటుంటారు.
బాగుంది సార్, చాలా బాగుంది సార్. వెరీ థ్యాంక్ఫుల్ టు యూ.
So one quick question. You also mentioned the psychiatrist here. How is the situation in terms of mental health in our places? Getting to a psychiatrist and seeing a psychiatrist is considered as something something happened to that person. So that is kind of an opinion, and I'm seeing that the number of psychiatrists are also very less. How is the situation is being managed, and what kind of things that should improve in your opinion?
Yes, see, the stigma is a problem with psychiatry. See, somebody having some heart problem, he happily tell to the public saying that, I developed a heart problem. I went to Apollo Hospital or Bollineni Hospital and spent 1 lakh rupees, So happily he will be announcing and getting sympathy from all the people around. But nobody will tell that I got HIV infection and I'm getting treatment from government hospital. Nobody will tell because of the stigma associated. Similarly, nobody would say that I am a patient of Karri Ramareddy. I go regularly to him because of the problem, stigma associated with this one. In 1980s, when I started my practice, it was so high. And because of the media, so many articles, I happen to write so many, Ram Subba Reddy, so many people are trying, and these days, stigma is too less. Indeed, 1,37,000 families consulted me during these 40 years. So it's becoming less. As you say, psychiatrists are less compared to the population who require psychiatric help. Not only psychiatrists, in general, medical professionals also, doctors are less compared to the requirement there, compared to the other countries. So there is a need for more psychiatrists, and also, of course, the people can help. And in NIMHANS, I mean telling you, when I was doing MD, then itself, comparison of meditation and anxiolytic drugs on anxiety. So that type of studies were going on. Dr. Gangadhar, who is the director of NIMHANS, he was 1 year junior to me. He did a lot of work on yoga. So yoga is being recognized by modern people. I see the name of Dr. Varaprasad. I think if he is Dr. Vanapalli Varaprasad, he is also a psychiatrist. I'm not sure whether Vanapalli Varaprasad or somebody else.
Thanks, sir. This is Dr. Varaprasad.
Vanapalli Varaprasad Gare. Okay, nice.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you.
Sir, good evening.
So now it is 7:25. May I take leave, sir?
I think Rajiv, last question he's been waiting for a long time for with his.
Okay, Rajiv ji.
Sorry to hold you, sir. I'm Rajiv calling from UK.
Okay.
Just a simple, quick question is, just wanted to check about the Jalaneti. Some of the ENT surgeons, they don't encourage for the Jalaneti because the water may hit on the base of the skull and it might cause a brain infection. How safe is it to do, sir, and how we can encourage people?
Yes. See, one thing. See, for everything there would be adverse effects. Jalaneti naturally, For an outsider, see, taking the water from one nostril and leaving it or cleaning that one, is it really necessary? Is it going to help the whole skull and all? As if it is going inside. If the water really goes inside, naturally one would die, is it not? So the problems are, one Dr. Reddy, sometime back 4 years or 5 years back, while doing Jalaneti in Hyderabad, he died due to suffocation because the water entered into lungs and he died there on the spot on the dais. During the first Yoga International Day celebrations, he died. See, one has to, that's why Guru is necessary for this one. See, pranayama, for example, what is the difference between taking through left nostril and leaving through right nostril and taking through right nostril? What is the difference, both the things? One will act, one would cool the body, one would energize the body. What is this? So for an outsider, it looks so funny and all. But things actually, practically, they are seeing. Acupressure, it sounds so funny for me. What is this one? Pressing here and getting relief somewhere. And this is called gallbladder meridian. This is called some kidney meridian. What is this? What nonsense it is? That was the impression. Till I got relief of my cervicals, I got very, the worst cervical spondylosis with compression of the cord, almost at the verge of getting paralysis even, paraplegia. So at that time, when the surgery was inevitable, with acupressure I became so well and I'm functioning. Then I realized that there are so many things which we do not know. Coming back to your point, see, if the water is not clean, the infection may go into the sinuses. The infection may go into the ear through Eustachian tube. And if there is any infection, injury or so, it may lead to some certain complications like even meningitis also. So things may happen. So one has to be very careful. And the spinal problems, they, unless they get the clearance from an orthopedic person, they should not venture the things. A physiotherapist knows the technique of the thing, but he doesn't know when to give the rest or when to do the exercise. So there he requires the help of an orthopedic surgeon, is it not? So that is why coordination is required.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Sorry for
So may
taking
I
your
take leave
time.
may I take leave, sir? Huh?
Okay, sir. Good night,
Srinivas
sir.
garu?
Thank you, sir.
Srinivas garu, may I take leave?
Thank you, sir. Suhatri. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
రామారెడ్డి గారు
Thank you.
రామారెడ్డి గారు
చెప్పండి.
సార్ చాలా బాగుందండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ సార్. వేణుగోపాల్ అండి.
Thank you. Oh, Venugopal garu. He is anesthetist. Dr. Venugopal. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Really
Very nice of
informative.
you. I take leave of you, sir.
నమస్తే సార్.
Yeah, thank you. Namaskar. Sir, sorry for the delay. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. So blessed to have you here. And Dr. GSN Reddy garu, are you there still? I think if you can give a few minutes of to be GSN Reddy garu.
Thank you very much, sir. Srinivas garu. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, one and all. And if you have any questions and anything, if you wanted to know more about Manavata services, and there is a holistic health services going on the phone because of the COVID. We are discouraging people to go to visit hospitals. So that is how we just started the last 60 days. We've been doing this health consultation, free consultation for all Telangana at the present. So we're supporting police and police families initially. So because of the frontline, they are facing a lot of challenges. So that is how the doctors, Dr. GSN also, is one of the wonderful holistic doctor. We were able to cure several patients through the phone consultation, and around 2,500 are cured. and all these 6 o'clock sessions we are trying to do the best. So in this 6 o'clock morning and 6 o'clock evening sessions, India. So trying to do the best the yoga for immunity sessions. I think around in the, our UK too may able to reach 400 families, and now in this the both sessions also we could reach around 300 families. So, but ideally we are trying to reach more people in terms of engaging under the across the globe, make the yoga as part of everyone's life. So that means make everyone healthy, happy, harmonious. That is actual ultimate goal of ultimate the mission of Manavata. So that is how the towards that we have been working. So we invite all the doctors, the great people in the call, and who are great-hearted the personalities are there in the call, and so I invite all of them be part of this mission, and let us work together and make it more inspirational, and again bring that our culture and the world as a Vasudaika Kutumbam, the one family, world as one family. So please do. So please do join every day, morning and evening, 6 o'clock classes. And at the same time, another 3 days to go for the international. We are trying to do 24 hours yoga. So that is one of the challenges. So 24 hours yoga, which is basically all the sessions will be given by the wonderful personalities. So you can join anytime, all the 24 hours. And our Japan volunteers, they will start initially because Japan is the first sunlight stage is there, and with the West Coast in the US. So we have been trying to get all the people involved and new countries involved, new people involved, all these across the globe. We must make every human being in the earth practicing yoga. So that is what we have to make, so that everyone can adopt this humanity in terms of the yoga principles is concerned. The yoga is a way of life, which is basically with the ethics and with values and with the health, all that taught by the yoga. So that is how let us try to bring that culture, the yogic way of living, the healthy way of living to everyone in the world. Let us spread these fruits of yoga to all of them with the International Yoga Day. So once again, thank you all for joining here. So yeah, let us be in touch. Let us work together, make the world as healthy, happy, and harmonious. And I pray for you all to be healthy, happy, and harmonious. Be safe. Be safe at home. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. May I know the YouTube or website, please? Thank you.
Sure. Manavata.org is a website. Manavata.org has got all the details, and it has got links as well. So, and this link, it works every day at 6 o'clock.
Sir, what is the link, sir?
Manavata.org.
Oh, right.
I typed it there.
Good.
In the chat.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Srinivas sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
సార్ మళ్ళీ దీంట్లో పార్టిసిపేట్ చేసే అందరూ కూడా జాయిన్ చేయండి ఈసారి నెక్స్ట్ దానికి కూడా. విల్ బి వెరీ హ్యాపీ అండ్ వి గాట్ వెరీ ప్లెజర్ ఫర్ దిస్ అటెన్షన్ అన్నమాట. ఈ నెక్స్ట్ టైం కూడా నెక్స్ట్ మీకు జరిగే కార్యక్రమంలో మమ్మల్ని ఇన్వాల్వ్ చేయండి సార్ ప్లీజ్.
Definitely, sir. Where are you from, Prasad garu?
ఎర్రాపురం ప్రసాద్ అండి. ఈ కాల్మిస్ట్ స్పిరిచువల్ ఆర్టికల్స్.
All right.
Retired from LIC and columnist in spiritual magazine.
Sure. Great. Okay.
I will be very thankful to you to can give me a chance to attend this meeting. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, sir. Namaste.
Hare Krishna.